Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to see so many people in this webinar today. It's amazing. And I'm also really excited to have you, Gabe, on here. So we're going to start a little slow here with an introduction while we're still waiting for more people to join who might be late for a couple of minutes. So today's webinar topic is about the email content calendar. Systemize what, how often, and who you send to. So let's start by doing a little bit of an introduction of the host. So my name is Aleksej. I'm the senior product expert here at Omnisend, and I am joined by the one and only director of customer success here at Omnisend, Gabe Macaluso, aka a really nice guy, aka somebody who has almost a decade of email marketing and email marketing automation experience and has worked with hundreds of clients here at Omnisend. I'm really excited to see what you've got for us today, Gabe. Please feel free to say hi.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lexi. I'm very excited to share my knowledge this morning. Was out for a run today and was constantly running through my talk track this morning. So I'm super excited. I get really nerdy and geeky about this stuff. So I'll probably get really excited and talk faster than I should. So yes, it will be recorded for everyone so that you can play it at half speed and hear everything I have to say.
Amazing. That's why I love this guy. That's why I love having you, Gabe, on here today. So let's start by talking a bit of a background as to why we're doing this webinar today. So me, Gabe, and another colleague of ours, Oscar, another product expert. By the way, he's here today. He's going to be answering questions in the chat. So if you've got any questions about something that we're talking about or about something about Omnisend in general, feel free to put it in the chat. We're going to have a few live Q&A stops for me and Gabe to address some of your questions. And Oscar is also constantly be going to answering questions in the chat for you. So feel free to ask. So me, Gabe, and Oscar, the three of us make up the team behind Omnisend Academy, something that we've started a few months ago. If you still haven't checked it out, you can go there by going to the link academy.omnisend.com. And for now, while we're just starting out, we mostly have stuff catered towards complete email marketing beginners there, but we're working really hard to bring out more stuff for everyone, for complete beginners and for seasoned email marketers, so that everyone can stay educated, continue learning on a consistent basis, continue improving and getting better results with email marketing. So because we like to not only talk the talk, but also walk the walk, that's why we're doing this webinar today about the email content calendar. In our vision, we're going to be doing similar webinars on different topics, SMS, automation, everything else in between. We're going to be doing these monthly, so this is not the last time that you're seeing me, that you're seeing Gabe, and we're also going to be bringing in more people from our team to share their knowledge as well. So today's topic is the email content calendar. It's a very simple concept that Gabe introduced me to a few months ago, and it completely changed the way that I think about email marketing campaigns. It's incredibly easy to get started with, but it's also really, really powerful and has lots of different applications in all sorts of parts of email marketing. So let's look at the agenda before I hand the mic over to Gabe, who's going to be taking over the first part of the webinar today because he introduced me to this concept, and I believe that he did an amazing job. So he's going to be the best person to introduce all of you to the concept today. So we're going to start with what is a content calendar and why you should have one. We're going to talk about the benefits, the value that it can have for your business. Then we're going to talk about how to create your own simple content calendar to get started with. And then we're going to look at some more applications, for example, how to use it to determine how often you should be sending email campaigns to your particular audience, how to apply the content calendar concept to your VIP newsletters and other types of newsletters, and more amazing tips to take your content calendar game to the next level. So for the first part of the webinar, Gabe is going to be taking over. One last technical thing before we get started. We just wanted to share that today is not only our webinar day, but it's also International Cellophane Tape Day. So we really wanted to say that we hope that all of you are going to stick until the end. Now, in case you can't, as Gabe already mentioned, the recording will be shared with you by email. There's going to be an automated email that's going to go out in 24 hours. So if you miss anything, or if we speak too fast or anything else, you will be able to get back to where you left off. Now, Gabe, the floor is yours. I'm really excited to see what you've got for us.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Lexi. And bear with me. So I've got 2 dogs, a cat, 2 kids. So my house is always constantly a little bit crazy. Everybody's out of the house currently, but we just never know when the neighborhood dog or cat that walks through the yard may excite the dog. So I've got my headphones on, so hopefully audio is good, and we walk through this. But this question here is, what is a content calendar and why you should have one? And what I love to talk about is, it's very easy to make things systematic. As digital marketers, we work on all levels of companies, from, maybe we're doing a couple $1,000s a month, or we're new and we're just kicking off, all the way up to, teams of 4 and 5 people running $100 million businesses. And what often the story I hear when I talk to customers is, I don't have time to think about it. I don't have enough time to create content for emails. I don't have enough ideas, right? And so we spend all this time crafting the most perfect email, and then we send it out, and we spread our time out too far between social media acquisition marketing, PPC, SEO. And then, every time we turn around, there's a new social platform we have to start advertising on. There's probably a full handful of people that are starting to advertise on TikTok, and that's like a whole new thing. I've seen conversations where, like, does anyone know an agency that's actually doing TikTok marketing? And everyone's like, well, I don't know, right? So that's the beauty of marketing. Most of us have some idea of what to do, but we don't know everything. And it's constantly experiment and constantly finding things out. So this first slide I want to show you is, a framework that we have, right? And so, at the end, we'll give you all of our contact information. Our goal at Omnisend is to be approachable and transparent and passionate about what we do. So if you guys see any resources on today's slides, obviously you'll get a copy of it, but we can give you some more of these. And so this is just a framework that one of my team members made for her clients, and it's super straightforward and it's repeatable. The idea being, okay, every month has 4 weeks. What can I implement in those 4 weeks that I can just repeat over and over and over again and drive results? Oftentimes I hear the customers that I'm working with tell me a story. They go, hey, Gabe, I've worked really, really hard to build my list of 10,000 contacts, 50,000 contacts, 100,000 contacts. And so we have a conversation with them, and we're going to dive in all over the place talking about segmentation stuff. And so when you start segmenting that contacts, then it's like, okay, here's everybody who's ever opened an email from you in the 2 years you've been sending. And we realize it's 20,000 out of 50,000 contacts. And so they don't want to get rid of those 30,000 contacts. But then I go, okay, well, let's send 1 email a week. And then I get the feedback, well, I don't want to spam my contacts. So you don't want to give up any contacts, but you don't want to send them any email. And so we're at this impasse. And so we're going to guide you today to strategically come up with ideas and content and slowly scale your sending cadence so your folks consume as much as they want to receive. We know time and time again that if you send an email, you see an uptake in orders every single time. And then of course, that's the trickle down effect through automations, because as soon as someone clicks through an email, they're now able to be targeted for abandoned cart or abandoned product. They're getting engaged with your site. Maybe you've got retargeting ads on Facebook. And so you open up all this opportunity to retarget and reinvigorate their emotion towards your brand. So we're going to dive into all of those things. If you have a brick and mortar store, I've worked with a number of like furniture retailers, and every time they send an email, foot traffic increases at stores. And of course, then there's the attribution modeling, which is extremely annoying for digital marketers, because the brick and mortar locations are going, look, we got all these extra orders. And you're like, yeah, that's because I sent an email for the site-wide sale online, but they're hoping to get that same discount in store. Again, probably a whole nother topic of a webinar. But again, the idea is, let's build a framework, let's make something repeatable and winnable, and everybody can do this. So let's kind of dig into it. So, we want to talk about how we create our own content calendar, right? So I'm going to give you the framework for it. Again, it's going to be very simple. Oftentimes as marketers, we way overthink this stuff. And we want the email to be just perfect. And we want to have the perfect subject line. And we want to have the perfect hero image. And the good news and the bad news is, if we spend 5 hours building an email or 2 minutes building an email, the attention span of someone looking at that email is about the exact same. You probably have about 10 seconds for someone to either decide they're going to investigate more in that email or not. And then you probably have another 30 seconds to see, okay, am I driving enough content in this message that's actually going to create something actionable for that user? Are they actually going to click through my email? Because as much as we want to believe as marketers that the beauty of our email is driving revenue and driving sales, people are looking for a deal, they're looking for good content, and they're looking for an easy call to action. So when you think about all those things, like, don't kill yourself building the crafting the most beautiful email. It's good to tie into brand voice. It's important. I'm not saying, send out trash, but the goal is to make sure you send out clear call to actions that get people to your store, because the ultimate goal of that email is to drive revenue and engagement. And if you're not doing those things in your email, then it doesn't matter how often or how little you send, people aren't going to engage. They're not going to buy, because that email is, you got short attention spans. You've got to focus people. So one of the things that I was talking about this morning, or thinking about talking to myself, I talk to myself a lot when I run, because I don't run with music. And so I was kind of going through this whole talk track, and is start by telling your story. And I think if you think of this framework in terms of building out what a content calendar looks like, you're going to tell your story. And the example I'm going to walk you through is 4 sends a month. And so if you have a brand, all you have to do is come up with 4 sentences about your brand, right? That's all you have to do. And then if you have those 4 sentences about your brand, then you just tell 1 sentence a week. And if you want to send more, you're already sending more. You can repeat that same story over and over and over again with those 4 sentences, but maybe I do 4 emails a week. So I'm sending every other day. And now you're sending 16 times a month. I've worked with brands that send all the way up to twice a month, which seems crazy, but they're daily deal sites and they constantly have new products and they can do it, and their customers want to engage with them. Fast fashion is a great place for this, right? That makes sense. If you're sending, if I have 1 product in my product catalog, do not send emails daily, right? Like that's not a good experience, right? Because someone's going to buy it or they're not. I have a beautiful fire pit in my backyard. It was an expensive fire pit. I bought said fire pit. They still email me every day. I'm a purchaser. There's no new accessories. And so I've unsubscribed because it's too much stuff. So the goal is to find that happy balance between what story am I going to try to tell and how do I get people to purchase and engage with my brand. All right, so I'm a visual person, so I like to go through examples. So the first week, and again, you can change the order of the story however you want. And we've got some resources at the end we'll share with you, but these are all publicly available emails. I just pulled off a site that I love called mill.com. It's a great resource for inspiration stuff. And again, we'll share some additional resources at the end, but this is where I pulled them all from. So week 1, what if I'm a brand owner, what do I want to do? I want to share what's new with my product. I want to share what's new on my site. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And why I love this email is this Moda Operandi, a high-end brand. You can see some of the brands here, Victoria Beckham, Cult Gala. These are expensive brands. These people who are shopping are going to expect a level of expertise and notice to detail in their shopping experience. But if you actually kind of diagnose the craft of this email, the story is new pieces just added. And then the 4 specific products that they've highlighted have no price, no intense product description. They don't have individual buttons, but it's super clear to the user what they should be doing in this. And you can see they put the call to action on there, the shop now. You have to have that on there. It's just little. It fits with the brand voice. But the goal is to drive clicks. So if I'm this user and I get this email, I know I'm going to know exactly where to click in the email. Shop now, boom, it's going to take me to the new release site. And then if any of those specific products draw my attention, I can click those. So already they're doing a great job of saying, okay, we're going to craft the journey here for Gabe and say, okay, I love that Victoria Beckham dress. I'm going to look fabulous in it. Coral's my color. I'm going to crush it. I live in Charleston, South Carolina. It's going to be fantastic. And now I've clicked that. And so that's already reduced one of the hurdles of my shopping experience. I'm not having to browse through everything, and I'm reducing the friction, reducing the number of clicks to getting something in my cart so that I can actually check out. Now, if I see those 4 products and I don't like any of them, then I click the shop now button and I'm exposed to everything, and I've got a wide open shopping experience. As we were going through COVID and even before COVID, we were going through, what is separating brands apart, right? And it's all about the experience. Target does a great job with this. They saw in-store sales go up during COVID because they were creating a safe experience for people to come and shop. So the story that they tell is when you walk in the store, the world is your oyster. We've got everything. We're going to shove some things in your face, but then if you're interested, you can dig deeper and go into the racks of clothes and find what you want, right? So first story, simple enough, new pieces. That's what's new and exciting. And I see we're seeing tons of questions, so we'll get to those at the end of this section and we'll take a little break, but I love that the questions are coming in. That's awesome. All right, so week one, new releases. I'm a brand. I'm proud of what I'm putting out there. Could be new releases, could be product updates, could be back in stock. So if you guys go out of stock stuff quickly and you've restocked something, so if you're not constantly generating new stuff, this could be your back in stock email. Here's everything we have back in stock and we're good to go. All right, so let's go to week two. Week two, favorites, top picks. And a reason I pulled this content is this entire thing all the way down to the social links is the entire email. That's it. Again, the idea of being here, oftentimes we get bogged down with making sure we have enough content. And if you look at this, it's, 7 lines of content. Nothing too crazy, nothing over the top. It's an easy amount of copy that we can come up with. Everybody can do this. And it's an easy, broad, shop now, work ready attire. The world is starting to open back up. We've got to go back to work. We've heard a number of stories where, maybe the jeans before COVID and after COVID are fitting a little tighter. They're hugging our body a little bit closer because they missed us. I can't even remember the last time I wore a pair of jeans. Like, that's gonna be one of my biggest transitions going back into the office is having to put on like real clothes, I'll call them. So this is, a fun way that says, hey, you can look professional, you can look casual. This is the story that we're telling. Here's our favorite things. Here's our work ready attire. This is what's great about our stuff. It can work wherever you need it to be. Other things I love with this one are like founders' favorites. So if the founder of your company is a big brand voice for you, highlight that. Bring your founder into it. Have them tell a story. Here's my favorite look. So here are the earrings that I wear. Here's the dress I wear. This is how I use the product, all of those things, okay? So favorite top picks, another story. And I know that in if I'm having a store, I know what I've released new. I know what my best sellers are. And so this is an easy opportunity for you to highlight those things and continue just to evolve that story. It's a trickle. It's getting people engaged, getting people excited about it. All right, so let's go to week 3. And week 3 is going to be a little bit crazy because this is going to be our big sale, right? So here's a big sale. Again, this is the entire email. Nothing too crazy. All of this is stock imaging that most of you probably already have on your site. So you're not having to dig for new images. Pretty straightforward in terms of building this stuff out. Buy 2, get 1 free on all art. Activate the offer. Notice it's a static coupon code. I know some people debate whether or not you need to have single-use dynamic coupon codes or static codes. And for me, depending on what the offer is, again, I'm going to delve all over the place because I get really excited about this stuff, but I could do a whole webinar on discount codes. But the idea being, if I'm willing to offer everybody on my email list a 33% off offer, I don't care if it gets on Retail Me Not or Honey or whatever the sites are now. If I have that code expiring in 2 weeks, because that's the length I'm running this campaign, I want anybody and everybody utilizing this coupon code because that's going to generate sales for me. So to me, when I'm thinking about how I want to spend my time, creating a static coupon code is much faster than dealing with dynamic single-use coupon codes, support requests, all of those types of things. Other things that you should be aware of when you're doing a big sale is think about excluding recent purchasers. I have a personal experience. I needed to buy luggage from Samsung. They were a client of mine, or not Samsung, Samsonite. They were a client of mine. So I got on their site. I'm going to support the local. I'm going to support my brand. I'm going to buy a luggage from Samsonite. The very next day, the luggage I bought was on sale for 50% off. And I got the email. Contacted support. Hey, this luggage is now 50% off. Can I get this discount or store credit? Nope, can't get it. I will never buy a piece of luggage from Samsonite again. Like that was enough of a bad experience that it's like, and had they segmented me out as a recent purchaser, I would have never been the wiser. It's not like I'm going to go back and double check pricing and all this stuff, but they've lost a customer for life because they weren't smart about segmenting. So just be mindful of that. So week 3A, big sale. We've got inventory to clear. Again, get excited about the brand. We love our brand. This is why we do it. For some of us, this is our lifeblood. For some of us, this is our job. But the products that we're working and selling and marketing are products we get passionate about, and it comes through. So let's look at week 3B, which is week 3 is going to be a little bit of a thing. So, this is the point, right? So here's Mixed Tiles. They did an even bigger sale. And this is where I'm telling you, hey, it was 33% off. Now I can get 16 for $99. That's like a 50% discount. If I get this email the day after I get buy 2, get 1 free, I'm going to be pissed, right? So, but not only are they doing the big sale, but they're also doing the storytelling of why their product is amazing. So again, this is probably pulled from their welcome email just to remind people on their list who haven't purchased in some time frame. Here's why mixed tiles are better than traditional frames. No nails, light built sturdy frames, save money, spare your walls. But again, segment out those recent purchasers, or get your recent purchasers and say, hey, you recently bought, and we've got an even better deal for you if you come back and purchase again. Change that subject line just slightly so it's not a, hey, you missed out on the sale, sorry you bought that, and now you want a discount. Get people excited, okay? All right, Aleksej, let's go look at week 3C. So what I love about this is they do a reminder email, and they literally use the exact same content. The only thing they did was add a last chance banner, and it's an animated GIF, so it draws attention and those types of things. Again, I would segment out recent purchasers or people who converted from that first email. There's no need to cloud people's inboxes. If you want to get even more specific, you could say, hey, last chance. So I'm going to send people who opened that last email but didn't purchase. So kind of, doing an automated email, doing an abandoned cart, abandoned browse, but you're doing like an abandoned email open, right? So you're going even further up the funnel. I work with a client that does this often. We upload openers, we upload purchasers, we create a segment, we send it out, and typically they see like a 40% open rate on that last chance email. It's a great strategy to utilize. And you can see, walking and telling this story, we're up to 5 emails when I told you this was going to be a 4-week thing, okay? All right, so let's go to week 4. All right, so week 4, content overstock. So we all run brands that sometimes end up with too much stock, and there's a number of ways that you can position this product. So I'm not super into women's fashion, or probably even know what's trendy at this point. But to me, when I look at this ThreadUp email, I'm thinking funky prints and wide leg jeans are not hot sellers at this moment. So what do? They highlight these 2 types of product verticals in their email in hopes that they can clear out their inventory and their stock. Same thing with the product recommendations at the bottom of their email. Again, very simple, straight design, no crazy fonts, super easy to read. I did see one question like, should you incorporate price or not? They do. It's totally up to you in terms of where your price point is and how much you want to display, or if you want to try to incorporate people into that, okay? Super easy call to actions. And all of these products here, they have positioned it as the it piece in your closet, but we have no idea. These could be the 8 products that they have the most inventory of and have sold the least of, and they're just trying to push it. They're trying to get it out of their warehouse, get it out of their inventory. And we know time and time again, the products that we feature in our emails are going to be the best-selling ones. So this is the story again. So we've got 4 parts to a story: new items, founders' favorites, top picks, big sale, content overstock. And now you can repeat that over and over and over again. And if we go to the next slide, let's take a look. So I was on Mill today, and Memorial Day sales coming up. So if you think about your 4-week story plus holidays, and today's International Cellophane Tape Day, so you could definitely have fun with that if your brand voice allows you to be a little bit funny. Puns are huge. I worked with Vermont Teddy Bear before. They love puns. They're super fun. But what I want to show you is Lisa, right? Lisa, everyone knows Lisa Mattress, huge company, hundreds of $1 million in revenue. And I want you to see that 3 of their last 6 emails literally use the same graphic. So the top middle and then the bottom left and the bottom right all have the same picture. And then the top left literally has almost the same picture. They just added some stars and stars to the banner. So you don't have to get crazy about it. You can reuse your content. You can reuse your templates. So when you build that 4-week story, you don't have to worry about people getting tired of new products. You don't have to worry about people getting tired of content and what looks are the month. I've worked with a number of brands that do weather-based. That's a huge one. So there's lots of opportunities for you to kind of craft your story around your brand and around your content calendar. All right. And then just because we want to make it super simple for you guys, we came up with the top 10 list of campaign ideas. So none of you will have an excuse for not coming up with content now. So site-wide sales, we've covered that. New releases and product drops. New release and product drops are a great opportunity too. If you haven't ever tried SMS marketing, getting people to sign up for your SMS VIP list and be the first to know about your new releases. Usually it's a smaller targeted group of audience. It's your biggest fans, and those campaigns will perform really well. And if you have a limited amount of product, an SMS campaign first can save you the heartache of sending an email and then running out of stock and then having to deal with the blowback from that in support. Care tips, these are great for bigger companies or bigger ticket items of, hey, here's our favorite gene and here's how you take care of it. So it's more of that soft sell approach. Founder favorites. I've also seen ones where people will take their support reps and say, hey, support rep, will you pick your favorite products? And then they do a little vignette or a little bio on the support rep so that when people come in to chat, it's like, oh, you've talked to Oscar, here's Oscar's favorite things, right? And it just gives that little personal touch to it. Founders favorites, we've done that one. International Gravy Boat Day, I worked with the Mikasa and Pfaltzgraff, and we used to laugh all the time. I kept trying to push them like, let's do International Punch Bowl Day, International Gravy Boat Day. And there's websites that you can go and you can find out like what international days there are. But the great thing about marketing too is you can make up days. You don't have to like wait for an official sanctioned holiday to promote. If, you know, I'm trying to see what's on my desk, I don't even know, but like if I have International Computer Mouse Day and you want to make that a thing, be the creators of it. Create it something new. It's a fun way to kind of engage with your audience and maybe drive some revenue and an opportunity to create content that wouldn't normally exist. All right, let's look at 6 through 10. So six, we saw the example of shopping the look or the trends. Again, this can be anything. If you're a sporting goods store, what's the latest in running shoes? What's the latest in tennis rackets? What's the latest baseball bat? And then be thinking seasonal about your sporting goods as well too, right? If I'm in North America, I'm not going to promote my swimwear in the middle of winter unless that's swim season, and that's when I know that the area around me or who I'm targeting is getting ready to swim. So be mindful of those things. Company birthday, this is a new one we've seen, right? So you can set up a birthday automation to kind of send an email to the folks that have their birthday. You have that details. I've even worked with clients that sent happy unbirthday emails like, hey, we don't know your birthday, so happy unbirthday. If you let us know, we'll give you a birthday coupon then as well. But celebrate your company birthday, celebrate your anniversary. You know, you guys are hardworking entrepreneurs. You've put your heart and soul in this business. Talk about it, brag about yourselves, tell your story. People want to know. In the news, if you do something good, brag about it. So if you've donated to local charity, if you've taken leftover clothes and you're giving them to a charity, International Women's Day wasn't too long ago. So if you've got women's clothing and you're donating it to a nonprofit that helps support, you know, single mothers getting jobs, that's a very hyper-specific example. I don't know why I thought of that, but if that's what you're doing, then send an email and brag about it and say, hey, you know, every purchase you do like helps us do good for our community, and here's what we're doing. If you want to be involved with it, right? User-generated content reviews, customer feature. People spend a lot of money on Instagram and Facebook advertising. I'm sure many of you have spent probably thousands of dollars on affiliate marketing and influencers. And social media, I struggle with sometimes because I see emails and I see like a 15% open rate to a list of 100,000. And then I see an Instagram account that has 2 million followers and they get 10,000 likes. And that's a good thing. But then if you percentage out, it's 1% of engagement. And so, but if you take that user generated content and put it into your emails, it's a great way to feature people using your product, real people. And obviously you have to ask for permission, but those are great things. And then of course, reviews are huge. Don't hesitate to incorporate those as well. And then we talked about changes in the weather and seasons. That's an easy one as well. So, you know, it's summertime, Memorial Day in the US, kick off to summertime. We've seen Lisa Sleep, they're doing massive Memorial Day sales. Take advantage of those things. As it starts to get cold, highlight your cold weather products. Why does your product perform better in cold weather versus warm weather? So all of these things, again, I love this stuff. So, you know, we can talk more and more about it. But I know Lexi's got a lot of information he wants to share as well. Oh, and I got the resource slide. So there you go, the resource slide. So again, you'll get a copy of the recording, so you'll have all of these. But of course, our blog, mill.com, really good emails.com, and Pinterest is one of my personal favorite. You can go to Pinterest and type in like welcome email design, abandoned cart design, and people have done the work for you and have collected, you know, hundreds of examples of good content. So you can see like what kind of copy are people using, what kind of subject line people are using. And I still think the attrition or the attribution rate or attachment rate of abandoned cart is still only like 40%. So 40% of e-commerce sites are running an abandoned cart site or abandoned cart automation. So there's a lot of opportunity to beat out your competitors with a good abandoned cart flow. But again, that could be another webinar. Aleksej, I'm just planning out the rest of the year for us. So we'll pause there and we'll take some questions.
All right, Gabe, I love that. People are actually asking when is the webinar on discounts going to be happening.
Yeah.
So I guess you can be the organizer of that if you want
Perfect.
to. So I've been looking at some of the questions in the chat, and there's some really good ones specifically about what you were talking about. So I suggest that we go through some of these right now.
Sure.
So number one question that was asked was about the first story part email that you showed about the new product release. So somebody asked, I cannot locate the message right now.
I see it.
Somebody was, so we don't write any story for those new releases, was the question. But yeah. I believe that what you were trying to say is that the new release is a part of the story. Our brand is evolving. We've got these new products that we want to share with you. That's part of the story. I think that's what you were trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I always try to, I'm a big fan of analogies. I love analogies. And so to me, like a new release is like your new baby, right? So if you've ever brought a baby home or a new dog home, like you post about it on Facebook, right? And maybe you tell a little story about like how you came across this dog and it's your new adopted family member, whatever, that kind of thing. But really the excitement is, here's my dog, him and I are smiling, here's my picture, right? And you don't have to tell the story, right? And sometimes your friends will even tell the story for you, right? You'll see it in the comments. Did you get a new dog? Oh my God, he's he's so adorable. And that's the engagement that you want to get with your new product release email. It's just focus on the product. We've got new products, check them out. We're constantly evolving. That is the story.
All right. By the way, I forgot to say that we've got this raised hand feature here in Zoom. So I suggest that everybody raise their hands for Gabe if you enjoyed the information that he shared today. I think that was amazing. I really loved it personally, and that's lots. Oh my God, my entire screen is raised hands right now. That's amazing. That's amazing, Gabe. How much love you get from this, because you're really doing an amazing job at this, sharing your real stories from real customers who you've worked with, and I think everybody here really appreciates that. So another question that was asked, do you suggest doing the big sale every month? Is that going to be too much for your audience, or is that fine?
So it just depends on what your brand voice is. And I've seen it go both ways, right? So big sale, most brands do it. Now, if you're a premium luxury brand, right? So let's say like Louis Vuitton or Tiffany's, you know, and this is a little aside, and Aleksej, I may be eating into your time, but again, we geek out on this stuff. So more information is better. But okay, so one of the things I tell people is, and again, discount codes and pop-ups could be a whole nother webinar, right? But you have to know your brand voice. So the example I always use with Tiffany's is, you know, Wheel of Fortune gamification for an email sign up. And again, this is a total tangential conversation, but I'm gonna circle back. I promise I'll make a full circle here. So, okay, so Wheel of Fortune, gamification, great way to sign up. That would not fit Tiffany or Louis Vuitton's brand voice. If I'm walking down Fifth Avenue in New York City and I see a giant wheel in Tiffany's storefront, I'd be like, what the heck is happening? Everyone would be like, you spin it and be like, oh, you get a free bracelet. Like, probably would be great, but like also doesn't fit with their brand voice. They don't need to do discounts. They're not going to do discounts. They don't need to because that's their brand voice. So if you're not a discount brand, don't do big sales, right? And there's enough holidays, there's enough other things that you can do that you can avoid the discount, right? So that's the thing. I have other brands that literally they eat, live, and breathe by the discount. And if they send an email with no discount, it does terrible, right? It's like, because everyone knows that tomorrow there'll be an email that says 50% off. So if you send me an email today with no discount, I'll just wait until tomorrow. I don't need to do it. But especially, as we get closer and closer to holiday, it's basically June. So you should already be thinking about holiday. I know, scary. But you should be thinking about holiday, and you want to be able to send on Black Friday and I can't even think what Thursday is called now these days. Gray Thursday, some people call it, but Cyber Monday. Like, you want to be able to send all of those emails. And if you go for 3 months without sending any email and then hit people on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, your deliverability is going to tank. It's going to be terrible because your users are not expecting to receive these emails. The ISPs are going to be like, where did this person come from? They haven't sent in 3 months. Now they're sending to their entire list 6 days in a row, and then they go radio silent again. Like, people don't love that. They want consistency. They want constant. They want an expectation. Same with me, right? Like, if I get emails from you once a week and then you send me a whole bunch of emails over the holiday, it's like, fine, I get it. You guys are hitting me for the holiday sales. But if I don't hear from you in 3 months and then all of a sudden you're showing up and like knocking on my door going bye, 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 I'm like, what? I don't even know what this is. I don't even remember signing up for it. And that's going to increase the likelihood that I'm marking you as spam. So long story short, big sale. If you don't do discounts, don't ever do a big sale, or do it like once. And you can always kind of make it the friends and family discount. So it's not just a discount on your site, it's a special anniversary. The company birthday is a good one too. So if you want to sprinkle in discounts without calling it the big sale, that's a good opportunity, a good strategic way to kind of give a discount without being a discount brand.
And something that you talked about is exactly why we want to have this content calendar in place, because we want to engage with our audience on a regular, consistent basis. So they always keep our brand top of mind. So if they think about, if we're selling sportswear and somebody asks them, a friend or somebody else asks them, what is a good sportswear brand? They immediately think about our brand. And if we start bombarding them with more emails, they understand who this is coming from and don't think that this is spam.
Right.
Now, another great question that came in from Steve Miller. How do you build up anticipation with a pre-sale of a product email that can lead to a new product email? And I was going to talk about an example of this in my part of the content that I prepared today. How one of our Omnisend customers, I don't remember what exact brand that was, but they did a Black Friday pre-sale email campaign last year, 2020, that one email generated $550,000 in revenue, just one email campaign. It was a super simple email. I've looked at it myself and it's just mind blowing. All they did was they put a huge countdown timer at the top of their email that was counting down to when their sales were going to go live on their store. And then they had literally just 2 lines of text saying something like, Black Friday is coming. We're super excited. Here's what's going to be on sale when the countdown timer hits 0. And then they listed a bunch of products that are going to be on sale and the prices that they are going to have when it goes live. And that's it. That's how they built anticipation, so much anticipation that it drove more than $500,000 in revenue. So that's one way that you can do it. Okay. Let's see more questions that we have. Also, Oscar commented that you guys should be putting your questions in the Q&A section. That way it's going to be more manageable for us because there's so many that are coming in. So if you've got a question that you really want answered, please make sure to put it in the Q&A section, not the general chat. I see a question, is this meeting recorded? Yes, you're going to receive a recording automatically in 24 hours. Let me know, Gabe, if you see any good questions too, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of them are good. I saw one question that was, what determines a recent purchaser? And so that's some of the new features that we released in Omnisend. We're talking about like life cycle of the customer and when are they likely to come back and purchase again. But really, it's the behavior of the user. You know, if I'm following this, 4 emails a month cadence, I'm probably excluding anyone who purchased in the last 7 days. Anyone who maybe purchased from the previous email or the previous 2 emails. So, a week is long enough that I've forgotten or that I've made the purchase, I've gotten the product, so I'm not mad about it. Maybe I'm excited about it. We always talk about, like, in the sales world, like more people are likely to rebuy as soon as they've just purchased, especially if it's a big ticket item. Because if I buy a car or a big refrigerator, right? I bought the best refrigerator with the best price, with the best discount, and everyone should buy this refrigerator. If no one else buys this refrigerator, or if you buy another refrigerator, you're dumb, right? So if I buy a bigger ticket item, then now I'm excited about it and I've got brand loyalty. So hitting me with a big sale like 2 weeks after I made my first purchase, I'm probably going to buy again because I'm already into it. And it's like, oh, I love my product. And now I get a second one for 50% off or whatever the big sale is. Like, there's a high likelihood that I'm going to purchase again. Again, if I purchase today and you send me the big sale tomorrow, I'm going to have a slightly different feeling because I haven't gotten the product yet to enjoy it. So it may be a combination of your email cadence in addition to what are your shipping timeframes look like.
Right, and actually quite a few people are talking about how to segment out recent purchasers and how to exclude them from receiving your email campaign. So that's something that I'm going to address in my part of the webinar. So we're going to be able to look at that in just a few minutes here. Sure. Now, another question coming in from Candace saying, do you offer landing pages? I can't seem to find the option. Yes, we do. You just have to go to sign up forms, and when you create a form, landing page is one of the 4 types of forms that we offer. So you will be able to create that from there. And then I see a follow-up from Steve about the countdown timer. Is that a feature in Omnisend? Now, as far as I know, it's not, but there's some integrations that offer it to you, that allow you to do that. I don't know the exact names of the integrations, but maybe Oscar will be able to look that up and reply to you in the Q&A.
I like this question from Fatima. It says, how could this be applied to a travel agency? And I like this question because it's a challenge, because it's outside my normal scope of like merchants and selling. And Fatima, I think with the travel agency, utilizing seasonality, talking about your travel agency, what new trips are you guys clearing for, especially COVID? Like, I've got a couple of trips booked, and like one of the things that my wife and I looked at when we were booking trips is, we're both vaccinated, but it was like, where can we travel with the least amount of friction, right? So like, we don't have to come home and quarantine, we don't have to do all that stuff. So any of that kind of stuff where it's like, hey, this country is now open to travel, like that could be your new release. So you're kind of in an advantageous place with COVID, I guess you could say. They'd be travel agencies, maybe the one group that can seize this opportunity. But I think any of that stuff, new partners, new locations, user-generated content, I think would be great for you guys in terms of content. So like reviews of people working with your agency or where they go, have your customers send you pictures of where they went and how they enjoyed it and how you guys made a difference in their travel planning. All of those things I think are pretty good ideas that you can hopefully implement relatively easy, and then just continue to kind of drive that engagement. I think the other thing that travel agencies will probably benefit from, especially as the world opens back up and you can do some of this stuff with Zoom, is offer like an ask me anything with the owner, right? So, I've used a travel agency a couple times, but maybe it's a foreign kind of idea for some people. So, why should you tell the story of why you should use a travel agency versus just booking it yourself somewhere? So kind of just tell that story. And again, you're going to get constantly new people on your list. You're going to get people who are on your list but still haven't purchased. So repeating that story every 4 weeks is okay. That's going to be fine to kind of encourage people to keep buying. So, and again, all that can be applied to any brand and anything, but I just thought that was a more unique, challenging question. So I wanted to take a stab at it.
Yep, very, very interesting. Now, I'm going to answer just a couple of more questions here, and then I'm going to go on with my part of the content that I've prepared, so we don't
Mhm.
go too much over time today. But I saw a few questions is about the email editor. One of them was, is there a way, or is there going to be a rollout for editing emails using your mobile phone? And then there was another question asking about whether we can add GIFs or GIFs, whatever you call them,
Yeah.
to emails. Now,
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, Gabe. We cannot add GIFs or GIFs to our emails right now with our current email editor.
No, you can. So we do support,
You can.
yeah. And we're laughing
Okay.
because Aleksej and I are on the same team. And so we had a team meeting the other day and there was the debate of if it's GIF or GIF. And I believe it's GIF, but that's just mine because I believe people say Jiffy, not Giphy. But that's, again, that could be a whole nother webinar topic about debates in the e-commerce world and technology. But yeah, you can import GIFs. They're great. Now, the default in Outlook is that it will produce a static image, and it's the first frame of your GIF or your GIF. Now you got me all confused of that thing that animates in a photo format. But just make sure. So just make sure that the first frame is something you want people to see because that's what will be static. Now in Outlook, you can instruct people. There is a setting that people can go in Outlook and say, hey, automatically play these when they reach my inbox, but it's not on by default. So just be mindful of that. But yes, we do support those things. In terms of the mobile editor, our product team is constantly collecting feedback and stuff on that. I the app is accessible online or on your phone. I've never tried to edit an email on my phone. Now I've got something to do this week and see if I can make it happen. So I have no idea what that experience is like. So there's no plans right now to build like a Omnisend mobile app. I know some of our competitors have a mobile app where you can do some things on it. I don't think there's any plans in the short future to do that, but definitely good feedback for our product team.
All right, great. So raise your hands, everybody, if you've enjoyed this Q&A section. We're going to have another one after I'm done with my part of the content. Right, my screen is all filled up again. I love
Good.
this live engagement that we're getting today, something that we will strive to do in the future webinars as well. So thank you so much, everybody, for attending today once again and for engaging. So let's move on for now, and we're going to address some more of these questions in about 15 minutes. And on a side note, I think my AirPods battery is about to die, so I might go silent for a second, and then we'll have to continue from my computer microphone. So let's get going. I'm going to talk about some more applications of the content calendar, some more things that you can use it for. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is how to use your content calendar to determine how many emails per week your audience is going to enjoy most. We all understand that more emails is going to equal more revenue, but only up to a certain point. At a certain point, it just becomes too much annoying spammy. Everybody's going to label it as spam, and that's just overall is going to hurt your brand image. So this is just something that you cannot guess. You have to determine, you have to find out using the content calendar, the perfect tool for this. So this is how it's going to go. I've also made an example content calendar here. Week one, an announcement of a new product release. Week two, a content focused campaign where we can share our new video or blog post where we share the value of our products in action. Then a sales promo of the month and something that Gabe talked about, a sales promo of high inventory items that we want to get rid of. And then we repeat. So once you're comfortable with this frequency, once you've kind of mastered this frequency, you can easily produce the content required for these. What you want to do is you want to increase, and by the way, this applies, the same principle applies if you're starting with one email campaign every 2 weeks or one email campaign per month. If that's all you can do, that's completely fine. The same principle applies. So once you're comfortable with that frequency, what you want to do is increase it by 1. So now we're sending 2 email campaigns per week instead of 1. And what we're going to do next is, after we do this for about 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to look at our number one guide for determining whether this is working or not. We're going to look at the open rates that our email campaigns are getting on average. If we see a significant drop, that means that we're doing too many. One email per week was the most that our audience could handle. If we don't see a significant drop, if it stays consistent, that gives us confidence that we can try doing even more. So we can try increasing to 3 emails per week. And then we just repeat the same process. We look at the email open rates for the next 2 to 3 weeks to see if we see a drop or we don't see a drop and it stays consistent. If we do see a drop, what we do is we cut back on 1 email per week that we added, and we know for sure that 2 emails per week in this example is the optimal sending frequency for our audience. So once again, this is something that you just cannot second guess, especially now that we give you the exact blueprint of how to find out the exact optimal sending frequency for your audience, so that you know that you're getting the most out of your list with your email campaigns. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about is the importance of having different approaches for different segments of your audience, something that Gabe has talked about already, and we are going to look at some very easy segmentation options available on Omnisend that even complete beginners can use to be able to start implementing this. So if, let's say that for this example, that once again, we've determined that 1 email per week is the best for our entire audience, well, we have to understand that there will always be those high value customers, those loyal fans who are going to want more. No matter how many we're sending to our entire audience, that small part of our audience is always going to want more. That's why it's important to have a separate list for them, or a separate content calendar, or a variation of your content calendar where you have more email campaigns than for everybody else. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to send the same exact email campaigns that you're sending to everybody else to these people, but you're also going to add a few extra email campaigns here and there that you send only to these VIP clients, VIP club, VIP newsletter, secret club, call it whatever you want. These are your highest value customers, and you want to treat them accordingly. And you can easily justify the existence of this separate calendar in the content of the emails themselves, and it gives you more ideas of what you can include in these emails. What you can say is, this is an email for our VIP club. We're sharing an exclusive VIP only discount. Or if you're sharing, let's say, another thing that you can do is you can share a sneak peek into a new upcoming release, and you can say that we're sharing this with you because you are a part of our VIP list. Nobody else gets to see this, only a small batch of people who are our most loyal fans. And that's going to make them feel more special, and feeling more special feels great. And they are going to become even more loyal to your brand. And then you also have to understand that there's going to be other people on the other side here that are going to be not completely inactive, who you want to unsubscribe from your list completely, but who are not quite active, not as active as the majority of your audience. So for these people, number one, to minimize the costs, the resources that you spend emailing them, because you pretty much pay for however many emails you're sending, right? So minimize the resources that you're sending to this audience, but you're still keeping the chance that they might convert. You're still not missing out on the possibility that they might come to your store and spend some money. So that's why we want to send them at least some emails, but less than everybody else. So we're going to look at our calendar, and we're going to think about every single email campaign. We're going to look at it and say, is this absolutely necessary to share with everybody? Or is this not super important? For example, our announcement of a new blog post might not be completely crucial for everybody to see. Our announcement of a new small sale for only a small handful of products for about 5 to 10% off, that might not really move everybody. That also can be left out. So things like that should be left out, and only the most important announcements should be sent to these least active customers. Once again, we're not sending to completely dead email inboxes who nobody ever checks. We're sending to people who are active but not really engaging, not buying from you. So let's look at some tools that we can use in Omnisend to be able to achieve this. Number one, if you're a complete beginner, if you've never segmented your audience before, I highly recommend you check out these suggestions that we have on our audience page where we have all of our segmentation. So these suggestions have been put together by our team exactly for people like you to get started as quickly as possible. And let's look at some great ones that you can use for these things regarding the content calendar that I'm talking about. The high value customers and your most engaged email subscribers are going to be perfect segments for your VIP newsletters. These are people who are really engaging with your promotional messages. The active email subscribers is a less strict segment. It has less strict rules, so it's going to have more people in it, usually the majority of your active audience. So this is a great segment for your general content calendar that you want the majority of your audience to receive. Now, the second option that you have is something that Gabe talked about that we released recently, I think in February or the beginning of March. So we've only had this feature for about 3 months, and it's called the customer breakdown. So it looks at your store's data, the purchase history, the purchase frequency, the amounts that people spend at your store, and it segments your audience for you based on that. So once again, champions, loyalists, and recent customers, as these segments are called, are going to be perfect for your VIP newsletters. They're all going to be delighted if you send them more, no matter how much you send. Obviously, up to a certain reasonable point, but generally you can send as much as you want to these people. They're never going to get bored of it. And then the last third option is obviously building out your custom segments. Now, this is going to have a little bit of a learning curve to it, but I personally believe, as a not so advanced email marketer myself, that these segments in Omnisend are really easy to build out yourself. So I put together a really simple one for the not so active customers, but not completely dead contacts. What I did is really simple rules that I've selected here. So number one, we do contacts email channel is subscribed to make sure that we're not sending to anybody who we should not be sending promotional messages to at all. And then I opened at least one email campaign in the last 6 months, but has not clicked any links and has not purchased any products in that same time period. So once again, we're going to have contacts who check their email inbox at least once in every 6 months, and who are not completely dead, but who are not buying anything from you yet. These are the people who are going to be sending our most important announcements to only. And then finally, I wanted to wrap this small part by saying that you don't have to have separate calendars for this. Once again, this is a tool to empower you to make your marketing easier, not more complicated. So if you have several different calendars that you have to monitor at the same time, that might be a bit too much. So I just pulled up the example calendar that Gabe showed us in the first part of the webinar, where we have everything in one calendar. All we have to do is just add a note for every single campaign for ourselves, for internal use, about who we are going to send each campaign to. So this one is going to be sent to all contacts, excluding those completely inactive ones. This one is going to be sent to our engaged audience, and this is going to be sent to our most engaged audience, our highest value customers. So really easy to have everything in just one content calendar. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about, and this is going to kind of transition into the wrap up here, but I just really wanted to put this out there. I wanted to talk about going beyond the content calendar. I just really wanted to say that after all of these things that we talked about today, all of these different strategies, the purpose of all of these strategies is to empower you, to make your marketing simpler, easier to maintain, not to limit you or your creativity. So if you see an opportunity at any given time, as Gabe gave an example, you appear in the news all of a sudden because you donated to a local charity. Well, feel free to share that with your customers, no matter if it's part of your content calendar or not. Some things you just cannot predict in advance. They're going to happen unexpectedly. So think about it. Think whether it's a solid reason to reach out to your audience. Think about whether they're going to be interested in reading that. And if they would be, if you think that they're going to be interested, definitely don't hesitate to send an extra email campaign here and there. And for this, I pulled up a couple of customer examples, and this is also going to serve as inspiration of some sort. So this one customer had a very special occasion happen, and by special occasion I mean something that nobody else celebrates, but only them and their audience, their subscribers. Something that's very near and dear to their hearts happened on October 11th. And as you can see, what highlighted in the gray bar here, their store's revenue skyrocketed organically. But they also leveraged that fact by sending a couple of email campaigns on that day, inviting their fans to celebrate. Maybe somebody was away and wasn't aware that this thing happened. Well, they let them know by email. They say, because of this amazing thing that happened, we put a few of our products on sale, and we invite you to celebrate by coming and shopping and celebrating together with us. Now, this is a very unique, special example. There's no guarantee that there's going to be some very unique occasions for your brand and for your audience. So I pulled up another more general one, which is Black Friday. So this is the example. This is from the same brand that I talked about before that sent an email campaign for their Black Friday pre-sale for more than $500,000 in sales from just one email campaign. This is their stats. This is their their dashboard of their Omnisend account. So what they did is they sent a couple of email campaigns for their Black Friday pre-sale, and it worked wonders. So you either have to foresee these things that it might be outside of your content calendars, like special occasions, Black Friday, Christmas, etc. You either have to foresee them and adjust your content calendar ahead of time accordingly, or you just send a couple extra campaigns. Don't worry about it. Don't think that, well, it's Wednesday today and my next campaign is supposed to go out on Thursday. I have to wait until Thursday. No, you don't. Just send out that email campaign. Don't worry about it. Now, obviously, you have to use common sense and don't oversend. 10 email campaigns per day is too much, but if it's a great opportunity, go for it. And one last thing, I wanted to share more amazing examples of reasons as to why you would want to reach out to your audience. It's at reallygoodemails.com. Amazing website, and I really love their tab called categories, and it has like close to 100 of different reasons to talk to your audience. A lot of these are going to be more suitable for automation workflows, like these behavioral ones, like abandoned cart, comment notification. This is something you would want to do with automation workflows, but there's also going to be a lot of stuff that you can implement in your content calendar for a recurring basis, and also a lot of one-off reasons to talk to your audience, like 4th of July, Memorial Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Women's Day, Christmas, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, etc. So you're going to find a lot of examples here. And that being said, don't let your content calendar limit you. It should only empower you and make your marketing easier to maintain, not more complicated. And one last thing that I want to do right now before we do another round of the Q&A, I just wanted to do a quick key takeaway section because there's a lot that we shared today during the webinar. So I want to make sure that you go away from this webinar remembering something out of all of these things that me and Gabe talked about today. Like what Gabe talked about, you want to keep things simple in your emails, right? So we want to make sure that it's also simple to understand what were the main key points of today's webinar to take away from. So number one thing that we talked about is what is a content calendar. So it's a repeatable schedule that dictates what and when to send, something that you create for yourself. And it helps you never run out of ideas for your next email campaigns because you always know in advance what those campaigns are going to be about. And it also works great for your audience because it keeps them engaged on a regular basis. Remember, it's going to help you always keep your brand in their top of mind. Number two thing that we talked about is how to get started, how to create your own content calendar, and start simple with one email per week. If that's too much for you, one every 2 weeks or one every month is going to work great. And then keep it simple. You don't have to put everything inside of just one email. You can spread it out across different ones, and that is going to help you tell a story. Gabe talked about how you can do this with just 4 sentences about your brand that you keep repeating over and over again every month. And then one last thing, just click send. No matter how much time we're going to spend on an email campaign, it's never going to be perfect. So click send. You're going to learn so much from just sending email campaigns. Over time, they're going to get better and better. That's how you improve. And then we talked about some more applications of the content calendar. We talked about how we can use it to determine how often we should be sending email campaigns. Main key takeaways from this are more emails equals more sales, but too many emails equals problems. So we don't want to do too many, and we cannot be guessing here. We have to test and find out using the content calendar. And your open rates are going to be your main guide here. Number 4 thing that we talked about is content calendar and segmentation. So this is mostly going to be applicable for people with larger customer bases. So if this is something that describes you, then consider having separate approaches for your highest value customers, for your non-active contacts, and then everybody else. And the suggested segments, customer breakdown.
Oh, there they went.
Yep, I think my microphone just went out.
Yep. Just went out.
So use these suggestions, customer breakdown, and custom segments if you want to build those. They're very, very easy to get started with to achieve these personalized approaches. And then finally, one last thing, beyond the content calendar, going to the next level is you have to understand that you cannot limit yourself because of the content calendar. If you see a great opportunity because of some special occasion, getting in the news, etc., go for it and reach out to your audience and let them know that you are inviting them to celebrate and tell your story. All right, that was a mouthful. So let's do another round of the Q&A really quick. Now we're going a bit over time, but I see that there's still about 95 people here. So we lost some 20 people. Hopefully, if they want to, they're going to come back to the recording. I see people raising their hands. I don't know if that's for me. Let me know if I did a good job by raising your hand. Thank you so much. I don't like being narcissistic like this, but for Gabe, so let's do it for me too. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much. Lots of raised hands. Thank you, people. So let's do another round of the Q&A. Gabe, let me know if you've seen any interesting questions while I was talking.
Yeah, sure. There was one that just came in that was talking about refer a friend. So there are definitely some apps out there to refer a friend. And then you can also use like the landing page and ask people to, forward this on to their friends so that you can, have them fill out there. But there's definitely third-party apps out there that you can integrate with your loyalty program. And there's a lot of gamification you can do there with points and the like to say, hey, you get 10 points for every friend that signs up and those types of things. But that's a great opportunity to get more engagement for sure. I like to call that sort of email marketing 301 because there's a lot of basics that people miss out on. And I always preach to the customer success team I work with and my merchants, it's like, be brilliant at the basics. Get the little things right first. I mean, it's super easy to be distracted by shiny objects and the new exciting thing. I remember a couple years ago, beacon technology was supposed to be like the thing. And that's where like, if you walked into a store and you were a competitor, you could like push your ad to them and like, no one knows what beacons are, but that was going to be the thing. And I had customers all the time, like, when are you guys going to come up with beacon technology? Well, we didn't, and it's not really a thing anymore. So it may come around again, but we don't need to think about that. So be brilliant in the basics, focus on the early stuff. If, we talked about sending emails through content calendars. And if you don't have an abandoned cart and a welcome email automation set up, those templates are available in Omnisend. The emails are pre-built with all the dynamic blocks for you. So, I've challenged myself that I can get an abandoned cart and a welcome automation set up in less than 10 minutes if you're integrated with Shopify, and I did it. And they weren't the prettiest emails, but they were an email nonetheless. So if you have any of those automations in the work, just turn them on. They'll be fine. They'll generate revenue for you. They're your biggest money makers. As we had, click send. It's going to be okay. You can always go back. Believe it or not, you can go back in and edit an email and change out the hero image. So if you don't love the hero image, it's better to have something now and then go back and optimize it later than just doing nothing, because doing nothing generates nothing.
I love that, Gabe. Thank you so much for your answer. And I also see another interesting question that I want to address because I don't want to be misleading. This question is coming in from Fatima. Not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right. I'm sorry if I'm not. But the question is, are Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays the best days to send email campaigns? Because that's what I had in my example in the content calendar. And no, they're not, because that's just the way it looked the prettiest, having them spread out on the content calendar in the presentation slide. That's why it was Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Now, we do actually have some data about this in our blog, and it says that I think Thursday is the best day, followed by Tuesday and Wednesday. So Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are the best days for email campaigns.
But we'd be remiss if we didn't say test, because that's the biggest thing. And that's the same thing with like, when do you send, what time of day do you send an email? And all of those things should be tested. It's also super complicated. I've worked with brands where like, it looks like a page out of a catalog from the 1960s. And they're like, oh, we're gonna refresh our brand image and stuff. And they got more customer support tickets because they changed the layout of the email, because their demographic was people that shopped in catalogs from the 1960s, and old people don't like changes in technology. So when there was a change and refresh of brand, those, you know, older demographic, they got really mad about it. And like, it took them a little time to like recover. So just be mindful of those things. If you've always sent at 8 a.m. and you've sent 3 times a week at 8 a.m. for the last 3 years, like, you can play around with time, like sending at different times, but just be mindful that it's going to take a little time for people to re-norm to that. And so you'll probably see a drop in performance. But again, be brilliant in the basics first. You can test all those other things down the road.
And I see another question. I see actually more questions about the the best days of the week. So I'm glad we addressed that, not absolutely. To be misleading. I see a question about where is the calendar? Is it in the app? And I think Oscar also let us know that there was another question about that. So once again, we don't want to be misleading. This is just something that you can create for yourself internally. We don't have it in the app. You can use whatever you want. You can use a physical calendar. You can use Google Calendar. You can use an Excel sheet, whatever you want to track the dates and the campaigns that you're sending on those particular dates.
All right, perfect. And Lexi, as I said, I have a crazy family, so I actually have to go pick up my kids from camp. And I know we're over time, but I'm going to bow out. But Lexi's going to share our contact information. Feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn. Follow us on, I'm on Twitter at Lexi. I don't know if you're on Twitter, but you can follow me on Twitter, ask me questions, and we're going to give our personal email addresses. So feel free to contact us there. I love talking with customers anytime I get. But yeah, it was great joining you today, Lexi. And thank you guys so much for our great audience. You guys asked amazing questions.
Thank you so much, Gabe. I'm sorry that we went over time, but that's just because we have so many questions today, and I'm glad that we were able to address so many, just like we promised, to make it an interactive live experience. So I'm glad we were able to achieve that. Thank you, Gabe.
Thanks, Lexi. Bye, everybody.
Everybody's raising their hand for you. Wow. That was amazing, guys. That was amazing. So, let's see if we've got any more interesting questions before we wrap up. But honestly, we probably should be ending this thing right now. One last thing that I want to share is the Card Insiders podcast season 3 is coming out next week. That's something that our colleagues over at Marketing do. So if you're interested in learning more about email marketing from and SMS marketing and marketing automation from our colleagues, from our customers, there's going to be some of our most successful customers on the podcast. You can give it a listen on Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon Music next week. And that being said, let's see if we've got any more good questions. After a couple of more questions, we're probably going to wrap this thing up. If anybody has to go right now, thank you from the bottom of my heart, guys. This was an amazing webinar, and this couldn't have been such an amazing webinar because without you. And I see people are asking for the contact info. So this is our support team's contact info. They work 24/7. And this is also my contact info and Gabe's contact info. So we're always here for you. At Omnisend, we strive to be not just a service provider, but we want to also show you the humans behind what we do and be your partners and friends. So don't hesitate to reach out to me or Gabe. We love talking to our customers and answering questions. I see a question, an interesting question coming in from Chand saying, what are your thoughts on image-only emails, CTAs and call to actions and everything else already included in the image with text in the footer only in order to make the email more appealing to the eye? Now, this is something that you're going to have to experiment with, but from our experience, this is something that we did when we started Omnisend Academy. We were sending out an email with an image that had everything, and it was not getting as many clicks as it started getting after we included a normal CTA button in there. But once again, this is going to vary highly from brand to brand, so definitely try doing that. Now, I don't recall if we did have a call to action button inside of the image. Might be that we didn't. And I see Oscar actually suggesting that the image to text ratio should be 50-50 for good deliverability. So make sure you include some text at least if you're going to try doing this. And I see another comment from Candice saying, is there an option to have the send now be the non-default? It makes me nervous. Can the schedule be the default? It's definitely stressful when you're just getting started with email marketing. When I was getting started with email marketing, it was really scary too, even though I had like 10 contacts to message. So this is just something that comes with experience, just like doing webinars. Stressful when you're just getting started. After you do 10, 20, 30, you get used to it. So something that you have to get used to. Another question, what do you think about text-only emails? Well, it's important to make sure that the email it's really easy to understand what the email is about if you look at it for only a couple of seconds, something that Gabe talked about. He said that the average time that somebody is going to look at an email is going to be 10 seconds. I actually believe that's going to be less than that, probably less than 5. So when you have a call to action inside of the email, a button saying, shop now, browse more, learn more, read blog posts, it's very easy for someone to understand what this email is about in just a couple of seconds of looking at the email. Without it, it might be more difficult. So they're not going to be able to tell as easily whether they're interested in this or not. So a lot of people are just going to leave because they don't get the information as quickly as possible. So my personal opinion about text-only emails, you can try doing that if you make it if you use good formatting and it's still really easy to brief through and understand the main points. But if there's just a lot of text in a paragraph style, that's not going to work. All right, got to go. Thank you very much. We'll definitely tune in next time. Thank you so much. Really appreciate all of your comments, guys. So many thank yous, so many thank yous. Okay. Let's see if there's any more interesting questions. Trying to see, there's so much. So please excuse me if I miss your question and don't address it. Thank you. This is hands down one of the best webinars I've been part of. Great job. Thank you so much. This is actually thanks to Gabe because he's an amazing leader. And he told me, like, I usually do my webinars in a more presentation style. And Gabe told me, let's make this one more interactive. Let's leave more time for the Q&A. Let's do more question answering. And we did that. And I'm glad all of you enjoyed it. Our mail has grown and brought in great business for the last 4 months. This month we tanked. Was it just a bad month for everyone, or was it just me? Well, bad months happen definitely. So if you see the same trend happening next month and the month after that, then probably something's not right. But if it's just 1 month, don't stress too much about it. Things happen. All right. I don't see any more new questions. I don't think so. Okay, I do see another one. In the campaign, it shows email and SMS on the left. Do I need to split them up? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't really understand exactly what that question is about. So maybe if you could rephrase that so I understand, would be very useful. I would be happy to address that. It was amazing. Thank you so much for all the information. Thank you once again. Thank all of you for attending today. I'm so sad that Gabe had to go. Gabe is always he says it himself. He geeks out on this stuff. He knows so much about this. He has so much experience. So I'm glad that he was able to hop on today. But thank all of you for joining today. Do you have to create separate campaigns for email and SMS? That's the question. Yes. When creating a campaign, you have the option of doing either an SMS one or an email one. If you want to send them at the same time, you can do that. Just schedule them in advance to be sent out at the same hour, and they will be delivered at the same time. Can't wait for the next one. I already can't wait for the next one too. I will be looking forward to seeing you all on the next webinar too. Would definitely love to see more of these from Omnisend. We will definitely do more of these. Next month, the webinar about discounts that all of you are asking for. We might as well do a webinar about discounts. All right, so I think that's the most questions. That's as many questions as I honestly can handle, and I think all of you are also getting tired from so much information. So let's leave some time to let it sink in, and I'm going to have to let all of you go. Raise your hands, everybody, for all of you today for joining this, for sticking through until the end. Thank you so much. I appreciate every single one of you today, and that's what this last slide is about. Thank you. So don't hesitate to reach out to us if you've got any questions after the webinar, but we're going to have to end this here today. I'm really happy that we did this, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye.